Matt Schlapp, and investigative reporter for the Washington Examiner, Sarah Westwood. Good to have you both with us. Let me start with you, Sarah. The news from the Trump campaign that he doesn't wish to participate in the debate Thursday. What do you make of it?
Donald Trump is pulling out all the stops ahead of the Iowa caucus next week to make sure the conversation is about him, no matter what we're talking about. So leading up to the debate, the question is not what Ted Cruz is going to say about immigration or what Marco Rubio is going to bring to the table. We're only going to be talking about whether or not Donald Trump will. And that plays to his advantage. It's been his strategy the entire time to just dominate the conversation. This is just another move.
And let me be clear. Carl Cameron reporting definitively that the Trump campaign says he will not be in attendance. It's not a matter of there isn't much ambiguity in all of that. Matt, your thoughts?
Obviously, I wish he would go. I think he's been a positive impact on these debates. I think he says it like it is, and I think the debate format is good for him. And quite honestly, I think whatever differences he has with Megyn Kelly, he ought to bury them in the ground. And let's keep talking about the issues that matter to the American people.
Well, he has been doing that in the view of those being polled better than anyone else. It's going to be interesting to see, what the next 24 hours, 48 hours bring. So, at this point, this is all we know. So we will see what happens. Let me turn to Senator Cruz, saying that he's unstoppable in his judgment if he wins Iowa. Do you agree with that, Sarah?
It's a pretty candid remark from Ted Cruz, and it's pretty accurate. If Donald Trump wins Iowa, which is a kind of a toss-up, Ted Cruz has a lot of ground support there. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump is going to win New Hampshire at this point. Then he's heading into South Carolina and these southern primary states that are going to go on Super Tuesday with this cloud of inevitability. It no longer becomes will he or won't he win. I mean, he needs a few early state losses to shatter that illusion that he's unstoppable, or else he really will be the nominee without question.
Well, I guess that's really the question here, Sarah. It doesn't appear to be an illusion.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. If Donald Trump wins in Iowa, which has demographics that really should favor Ted Cruz, if he wins in Iowa, I see him really running the table on this race. I really think Ted Cruz, Sarah's right. This is a moment. It's because Ted Cruz wants to get every conceivable supporter of his out to caucus. And remember, caucusing is a difficult and time-consuming thing to do, but it's also honest. He must win Iowa.
Let me get to this, because we keep talking in all of these rather vague things about the ground games. I just want to hear some assessment of the reality of what the ground operation is for each of the candidates, certainly for Cruz and for Trump. And for Rubio in Iowa, because as we all know, that the games that are played in those caucuses are can be pretty interesting. Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah?
Well, it's the million-dollar question is whether Donald Trump has the ground game. He certainly has the popular support. He certainly has the enthusiasm behind him. Now, the question is, because he's not a professional politician and he's so new to this game, does he have the sort of organization that could carry him through a caucus night? Like you said, it's a unique process.
Do you have that answer, Matt?
Yeah, let me try here. I mean, I think Ted Cruz is running a textbook campaign. He has his campaign manager as an expert in how to use mail and how to use phones. They're really doing every step they can to contact voters who agree with them. But here's what's also true. Donald Trump has enthusiasm and crowds at his events like we've really never seen. And some people believe that won't translate into votes in the caucus. I just can't imagine you're going to spend that much time trying to get into a Trump event and then turn around and not vote for the guy.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I agree.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Very quickly, Hillary Clinton, another town hall meeting in place of a debate. Sarah, is she basically done? I mean, at what point does the weight of all that's hanging over her simply reduce that campaign to something that's so ineffectual that it has to succumb?
The problem is that Democratic primary voters, they don't care about the email issue as much as voters. So either way, this is going to come back and haunt her if she becomes the nominee, and if she starts to lose to Bernie Sanders. If Bernie Sanders ekes out a win in Iowa, he's probably going to win in New Hampshire. This becomes an even greater liability, because then she's no longer the candidate of inevitability.
Sir, as you know, if he doesn't win in New Hampshire, no one can win against her in New Hampshire. Matt, you get the last word here.
Let me tell you, the base of the Democratic Party just simply does not love Hillary Clinton. They rejected her in 2008. They seem to be wanting to find any excuse to reject her this time. And the reason why the emails matter, it reminds Democrats that she's a weak candidate, and it also reminds everybody of 3 letters that are very important: the FBI.
All right, Matt Schlapp.